What vision? Who said anything about vision?
It's the vision thing. Did you say something?
It's the vision thing, man. It's the vision thing. So who the hell are you?
Who the hell am I, man? Well, you know, I want love. I don't want to do straight work.
Who are you? Where you come from? Where were you born?
I call myself Harmonica Tom. I was born in Chester, Pennsylvania. I will not reveal my social security number.
Name, age, rank, and serial number.
I'm around 21, but it's my second time around.
Come on. No lies here. This is for real live television.
I'm around 21, but it's my second time around plus 1 year.
So you grew up during the 50s. Is that right?
In 1960, I was on the cusp of puberty.
1960, cusp of puberty.
That's it. The hair started coming in.
All right.
Jack Kennedy was out
there.
So
you grew up in America's school systems.
I was a Catholic patriot, just like every other Kennedy lover.
Were you a Catholic student? Did you go to Catholic schools your whole young life?
I believe psychedelics cure Catholicism. That's the good news. But I was imprisoned in Catholic school for 10.5 years, including a half year at Benedictine Abbey, where I was a student, not a seminary student, but a college student. They had a college. So if it weren't for the fact that psychedelics cure Catholicism, I'd be really worried about the impact of the Vatican on the future.
What does the Vatican have to do with anything?
Well, isn't it the Vatican, Karl Marx, the devil, and the international Jewish conspiracy? They're going to bring in apocalypse, like Jesse Helm says.
So when was the first time you ran away from home?
I actually was carted away from home when I was around 16. Actually, I was 5. I took off with my brother, who was a year older than me. I was around 5. Maybe I was just 2 or 3 or 4. My brother was older, and we took a couple cans of canned milk and maybe some crackers, and we decided we were going to leave, and we went over to a pal's house, and eventually we got hungry and tired, and there was an exchange of phone calls behind the scenes, and I guess we went home.
So why did you leave?
Why did I leave? Because the canned milk was, consumable in a knapsack.
No, man. Why did you leave home? You didn't run away from home just on an impulse. What did they do? What did they?
I don't know. I was pretty young then, but I remember actually the fact that it happened as part of the family mythology to bring it back up as I got older, to remind us that we had actually taken off once with the intention of running away from home. I think it was probably orchestrated. I think we probably announced it to our parents, and they had the spy satellite on us,
They wouldn't let you watch television or something.
I think they probably pretended to let us believe we had run away from home.
Yeah.
I think it was a rather guided adventure.
Did it teach you anything?
It taught me that hoboing was the natural life for Harmonica Tom.
Hoboing was the natural life for Harmonica Tom. So then Tom continued with these parents who drove him to such depths of despair at such a young age. What, did you play sports or anything when you were in school?
I went out for baseball when I was the first guy cut from the team.
You were cut from the team.
That gave me a very strong interest in chess, and poetry, and dancing, and other things that didn't require physical prowess in order to feel good about myself and perhaps to attract.
Did you read a lot of books when you were a kid then?
When I was a kid, I was reading books, and my mother discouraged comic books. And I remember when I was around 13, I was in this club that was going to read 10 books in the summertime. I read a lot of sci-fi, some mysteries, read some Poe mysteries, which might have been my gateway to poetry. So I was a real cerebral little kid.
You were a cerebral little kid.
Yeah, I was the kind of called William Saget.
Did you get
No, I had very variable grades. I think I might have had an A year in high school, but I had a D year in high school that put me in the dumb class the next year. I think my senior year I had A's, but my junior year, which paradoxically, or my sophomore year, I had D's. So I was in the dumb class at the beginning.
So what happened? What happened that you started getting D's?
Huh.
Or actually, the question would be: did you always have C's before then? Were you an average student?
I think probably I was a B-type student.
You were a B-type student.
Not an outstanding student. I was a very variable student, so my average was probably B, because I might have A terms and I might have C terms.
Did you have a lot of disagreements with your school teachers?
Some of my memories are that I did have what they call a problem with authority, but I would rather say that authority had a problem with me. Yeah, I think on obedience.
Revisionism, if I ever heard it.
You know, I think I didn't get good marks for conduct or obedience.
You weren't a hyperactive child, or anything?
I was what they called high strung. They took me to a shrink.
Yeah.
And had and the word that filtered down to me when I was 7 or 8 was that I was high strung.
Were your brothers and sisters high strung?
I don't think so. Although my brother is a rather go-getter accountant, maybe he is high strung.
You didn't have to tell me about your brother. I just asked if he was high strung. But you were a high strung child.
I was a high strung child.
And at what age did you start? Well, let's take this. We'll go more psychosexual. At what age did you start running around with girls?
Well, I lost my virginity at the tender age of 18.
18. My
Yes,
God, you were an old man.
Home. I was made to leave home.
So you're way out of line with the rest of with the
I
rest
think
of
I'm just a
teenagedom
monk.
anyway.
I think I'm a monk in hippie drag. Actually.
A monk in hippie drag.
Uh,
So you went to Catholic school and you went on. Were you an altar boy?
I was not an altar boy, but I was a choir boy.
A choir boy. So what did you sing?
You know.
Tenor after they cut off my balls.
Gloria in excelsis Deus.
No,
And
you
after
didn't sing
midnight
that
mass,
one. You didn't sing that one.
I sang it.
Were you
Probably
singing?
in my 6-year-old prepubescent. Gloria. But I can't keep the pitch there anymore.
But you can't keep the pitch there. You couldn't
I can't
keep the
get the
pitch
pitch
in your
there.
other.
I mean, I get to get there sometimes. You know?
Yeah. So after going through all this drudgery, were you ever? What was the most severe punishments you ever got in your school life?
Well, I had thought about that when we were talking about authority. One time, I said the word shoot, which was slang, my mother's slang for shit, because she was too popular to say shit. And when she was mad, so she would go shoot. So I got frustrated at some point, and I yelled out in class, shoot, And the nun was sure she heard the word shit. And she said, did some child in this room say shit? Of course, she recognized my voice and know it was me, and she was trying to see if I would be honest and fess up. And I insisted that I hadn't when she confronted me with it, and she insisted that her ears had heard me say, shit. And I was really, really angry because I thought it was an injustice. I knew in my heart, subjectively, I hadn't said shit.
So early injustice.
And she brought the Mother Superior out, and the Mother Superior, I was really huffing and puffing and angry and raging and telling, it's not fair. And the Mother Superior came out, and she put my head under the water fountain to cool off my head.
Did it work?
And I don't believe it did. I was just enraged at the humiliation when I hadn't done a crime. That was my way of looking at it. And then they took me over to the convent, and I charmed the nuns who were, home from work and stuff. A nice little darling kid.
You were, weren't you?
For a couple. Was I a darling kid?
Were you a darling kid, or were you always a little rough?
I never did one wrong thing.
I never did one wrong thing. My mama never even had to scold me.
That's it. Except for when I said a curse word and my mother put mustard in my mouth. I must have done some wrong things.
Wow.
I guess it was not quite so unhealthy as soap, but it had that stinging effect that has left me not liking mustard my entire life.
Yeah.
And so I think originally I was, I don't know where I guess my problem with authority came from resisting my father's violence. I left home at 16 and had a very violent relationship with my father. And that probably affected me for life. It made me impulsive, it made me angry, it made re-battering for years, it made nonviolence, the decades that I practiced that, valuable, and it made me engage politics and questions of power and master-slave and equality, because I was in a situation where I was slave. I think that will always affect my life.
So the beaten slave again, it's that child abuse.
No more, Dad. Don't rise from your grave, Dad, because I'm ready. This time I'll be ready. So stay buried right where you are.